Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Shanice and today we are making a simple summer shirt. So with outside open again, let's roll out in our own DIY creations. This is going to be beginner friendly. You don't really need a sewing machine if you don't have one. It needs a few basic tools that we're going to walk through and you're good to go. So stay tuned. For this project, we will need some paper. It doesn't matter what kind of paper you have. It can be wrapping paper, brown paper, whatever you have at home. Feather, we're going to need a ruler, a pair of scissors strictly for paper, fabric scissors, pinking shears, sewing thread, and basting thread. You would also need a marking pen or pencil or chalk. That's also fine. And then finally, we need fabric of about 1 to 1.5 yards. Now let's talk measurements. Measure your bust, high hip, and bust to high hip measurements. You can also substitute the high hip with however long you'd like your shirt to be. If you do not have a tape measure, that's no problem. You can use the sizing your favorite clothing brand uses. Next, take your bust measurement, divide by 4 and add 2 centimeters for seam allowance. This will be the width of the top part of your shirt. Afterwards, take your bust to hip measurement or your desired length of the shirt and add 2 centimeters. Finally, take the high hip measurement, divide by 4 and add 2 centimeters to form the width of the lower part of your shirt. This is all of the measurements we will need. And then now we're going to cut our strap. For our strap, we're going to use 2 inches by 18 inches. So right now, this is all of the pattern we need. This is for our top and this is for the straps that we're going to use. So I've indicated here that we need to cut 2 of this on fold. I will show very quickly what that means and then we're going to cut 4 of the straps. Now we're going to get our fabric. You can use whatever fabric that you need. What I'm using now is white, mainly so you can see the stitches that I will make later on. To cut on fold. What this means is that if you have the length of the fabric this way, if you put it over, you have the fabric folded over. So this is the fold. And then we do this to make sure that when you cut it and then you open it up, you have both sides already available. So now we're going to put this here. Now we're going to cut. You can either use a pinking shears to cut with these zigzag edges. It's really nice to use if you don't have a serger. You can use this and your edges are finished. If you do not have this, alternatively you can use a regular pair of scissors. Use this and it means we have to finish it differently. For reference, I will use this and this so you can see what both of them look like. Okay, so I've gone ahead to cut all of my pattern. As per instructions, we need 2 of this and 4 of these. To start with, we're going to put the right sides together. So right side, put this together. And then we're going to pin. You remember we put 2 centimeters each on both on it, so it means that from both sides we're going to take 2 centimeters. If you do not have a machine, we're going to hand stitch. So get your needle to ensure that we can sew on a straight line. First we are going to baste, so that just means making big stitches, big continuous stitches. To connect your garment without using a machine, we will use a back stitch. Begin by securing your sewn thread in the fabric with a regular stitch. Stitch through the same section about 2 to 3 times, pulling firmly but carefully to avoid tearing your thread. This will make sure that the beginning part of your garment stays secure and the thread stays in. Now extend your stitch forward, and in the motion of making a backwards loop, stitch behind the previous exit point of the thread and then stitch forward again. We will do this several times, so this continuous reinforced stitching is what will ensure that your garment stays in place. So at some point during the back stitching, you may be running out of thread. Just before you run out, make 2 or 3 firm stitches in the same section to secure your stitch, and loop part of the remaining thread in the previous stitching. Whatever thread you have left, you can cut out and then re-thread and then begin a new stitching like we did in the previous back stitch. With this side done, go ahead and do the same for this side. So now that we have succeeded in finishing this, we've gone and sewn all of this side and all of this side. We put this aside for a moment. We're going to go with our straps. We're going to do the same to this as we did to this. So we're going to pin and then sew here, and we're going to leave this side open. Let's go. After you've sewn along the edges, we're going to turn it in so you have it smooth like we have on this. To do that, you can use a tool called, otherwise you can also just use a pencil to do that. You just lift your sewn item and then you just push it through to the base of it like this. You just push it through, basically it looks like this, and then you push this through and then you just push it through, and that works very easily. And here you go, and then you just pull that out. Okay. To finish the edges of items without a machine, you can also use your pinking shears. It will give such a look, and then that also helps to keep your seam in place at least for a while without fraying. So this isn't necessarily recommended if you're going to be vigorously washing this a lot, but if you're going to wear this once in a while, then it's fine to use this. To do this, all you have to do is just basically you just cut. Usually this is what would happen, it will just fray, and it will just keep fraying. But once you have this, it still frays, but not, it's very difficult to get it to fray. Now we have our straps. Whether you decided to go for the pinking shears or you decided to use your machine, we have them here. Now that we have our bodice ready, we're going to attach our straps. I'm going to show you how to attach the straps with the pinking shears and the ones that has been sewn. Okay, let's start with the machine part. So what we're going to do now is, using our pencil, we're going to measure from the end until 4 inches in. I'm going to mark that on this side, and we're going to do the same on the other side, 4 inches. Then we're going to take our strap. We are working on the wrong side now. We're going to take our strap, and then we're going to attach it so with the opened edge. We're going to put it at the end of where the 4 inches meet, this way. And then we're going to turn in 1/4 inch. Yes, and then another 1/4 inch. And then we're going to pin. And then you're going to make sure you do the same for all edges with the other two. If you're using the machine with the other two straps, you put the same thing here, and then you sew all the way round. If you're using these straps, then we're going to do also the same. We measure 4 inches from the end until 4 inches. We will mark. Same for here. Because we use the pinking shears here, I've gone ahead to use the pinking shears here, which means we do not need to fold and tack. But because we've already used the pinking shears, we just go ahead. We go to our marked ends, and then you use right side here, wrong side here. You put it on it about 1/2 inch. You pin. We do the same for the other side. Right side, wrong side. And then you pin. Now, if you're using the pinking shears, go ahead and sew the strap onto the bodice, just like we did here. We're going to do the same thing here and here. And then if you're using the machine, we're going to run the machine across here. We're close to done, guys. So if you're using the machine, your tacked in end would look like this, and if you're using the pinking shears, then you just have to do this. Usually you would use a thread that matches with your fabric, but this is just for illustration purposes. So then it would look like this, and this side would look like this. So go ahead and now finish this side. You finish the end here. You can choose to use the pinking shears, or you can use the machine. I'm going to use the pinking shears. I'll be right back. Looks like we're done, guys. So we finished the edge, we finished the sides, and here and here. Now we're just going to press, cut off some loose threads, and we're ready.